This is wrestling's greatest moments.
Hey now, wrestling fans. It's time for another video from Wrestling's Greatest Moments. Wrestling is known for its horrendous beatdowns where a wrestler takes a shellacking and vows revenge. However, some beatings are so over the top that fans couldn't help but laugh. Join us now as Wrestling's Greatest Moments looks at 5 wrestling beatdowns so outrageous they made for pure comedy gold. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on a single video. If ever a wrestler lived up to their reputation as a monster heel, it was Kane. Wrestling's Big Red Machine justly earned a reputation as one of wrestling's most fearsome heels, and not just for his success in the ring. Kane's list of dirty deeds is second to none, and would likely have landed him in prison if it wasn't for professional wrestling's unique work environment, where committing felonies against someone is dealt with through trial by combat rather than a trial of one's peers. However, what happens when a wrestler goes after a non-combatant? In this case, wrestling announcer Jim Ross. In 2003, Kane was unmasked due to losing a stipulation match against Triple H, which caused the already unstable Kane to snap, including a spot where he chokeslammed his tag team partner and would-be friend Rob Van Dam. Determined to get to the bottom of things, Jim Ross conducted a backstage sit-down interview with Kane that might as well have occurred by a campfire. While Stone Cold Steve Austin watched from the ring, Kane vented about how no one felt his pain. The Big Red Machine handed Jim Ross a big red box, and good old JR warily opened it, finding a gasoline can inside. JR looked like a doe that had wandered into a lion's den as Kane glowered menacingly. Finally, Ross said something that lit Kane's fuse, and the mammoth monster floored Ross, pouring gasoline on him before setting him ablaze. Like a homecoming bonfire. Needless to say, fans were shocked, and this drove home the point that Kane was no gentle giant or misunderstood monster. The only downside to this angle was that Ross was lit up rather than fellow announcer Michael Cole. In 2019, Ross tweeted about the incident. Not the creative moment of the year, in my opinion. Truth be told, it meant nothing to anyone because it was unbelievable. In Kane's defense, he may have been inspired by the Dead Milkmen's classic song, "If you love someone, set them on fire." Roman Reigns is the head of the table now, but it wasn't so long ago that he was the big dog, a babyface pushed so hard the fans hated him and delighted in seeing him fail. One such occasion involved Braun Strowman, who made it his purpose to destroy Reigns and remove him from professional wrestling. On one particular night, the monster among men attacked Roman so badly that medical personnel were called in. As fans know, this is nothing unusual, but what happened next was a masterwork of mayhem. Roman was placed on a gurney, but Strowman was just getting warmed up. Strowman grabbed the gurney, pushing Reigns off a loading dock and inflicting further damage. The madcap hijinks were followed by what can only be described as one of the greatest nights in the history of our sport. Trademark Tony Schiavone, when poor pathetic Roman was loaded into the ambulance. Strowman had already leveled up by playing shuffleboard with Roman and the gurney. Now it was time for something even nastier. The monster among men saw the ambulance and used his seemingly superhuman strength to tip the vehicle over. Strowman, who competed in World's Strongest Man competitions before wrestling, so it was credible, at least in the world of wrestling, where suspension of disbelief is often put to the test, to pull this off. Who knows? Strowman may even have wanted to give the people behind the World's Strongest competition a new event for testing individual strength. Whatever the reason, Strowman knocked the ambulance over, giving wrestling fans another reason to applaud him for his treatment of Roman Reigns. Rey Mysterio has often been called wrestling's ultimate underdog, and at times booked as the slayer of giants. However, that wasn't the case when Mysterio squared off against the Big Show at 2002's Backlash. Despite a valiant effort, the master of the 619 just couldn't get the job done. Rey lost to his massive opponent after attempting his West Coast pop, only for the Big Show to chokeslam him to the mat. The move did more than stun Rey. It injured him, and the referee called upon the WWE's medical team. Commentator Michael Cole did his part, observing that Mysterio had been broken in half. Rey was promptly placed onto a plastic gurney to reduce any movement in the event of a neck or spine injury. Then in one of wrestling's funniest beatdowns, the Big Show returned to the ringside area and tossed the medical personnel aside. He then lifted the gurney and slammed it into the steel post like a giant wiffle ball bat. thankfully with a plastic side hitting the post and not Rey. Rey sold the injury like someone had dropped a piano on him, pleading for help and saying he couldn't breathe. As violent as the angle looked, many fans remember it as an example of the WWE's love for showing giants destroying smaller opponents. Given the WWE's penchant for big men squashing smaller opponents, one can't help but wonder if Vince McMahon created the WWE's cruiserweight division to provide ready-made cannon fodder for the company's super heavyweights. Speaking of the Big Show, aka Paul White, his career started in WCW, where announcers hinted that he was Andre the Giant's son. When Scott Hall joined WCW a year later, he jokingly asked the Giant on air if he was Andre's son. While White wasn't related to the eighth wonder of the world, he was an incredibly tall and scary-looking athlete who was immediately put into a program against Hulk Hogan, leading to a WCW World Championship match at the promotion's Halloween Havoc pay-per-view. Of course, with this being WCW in 1995, one of the worst years to be a wrestling fan, a mere world title match wasn't enough, so WCW decided to have the Giant and Hogan first compete in a monster truck match on the roof of the Joe Louis Arena, the venue for Halloween Havoc. For more about the sheer stupidity of WCW's Halloween Havoc, check out our video, The Horror of Halloween Havoc. Whether this was just a chance to cash in on the monster truck craze, or just another bad idea from WCW's brain trust, the same people who had booked a match earlier in the year where two wrestlers battled it out on a moving flatbed truck. The two titans tussled with their trucks. Naturally, the Hulkster won. Rank has its privilege, especially when you have a creative control clause in your contract, leading to the Giant losing his temper. The big man attacked Hogan on the arena roof. Hogan fought back and the Giant fell backwards, despite the Hulkster's efforts to grab him before he plummeted hundreds of feet to his doom. As mentioned earlier, professional wrestlers have a superhuman ability to recover from injury, but nothing like what fans witnessed at Halloween Havoc. As the wrestling world prepared to mourn the untimely demise of the Giant, the big man showed up later in the night for a scheduled title shot against Hogan. As incredible as the Giant's survival was, the announcers didn't even come up with anything remotely resembling a plausible excuse for his survival. Had he landed on a canopy that broke his fall? Had he caught himself on a ledge and crawled to safety? Had a flatbed carrying mattresses just happened to be driving by when he fell? All fans knew was that the Giant walked into the ring with nary a scratch and proceeded to work his match. In 2002, Vince McMahon decided to do what he should have done during the 2001 WCW Invasion angle: open his wallet and sign some of WCW's top stars. Rather than trying to redo the Invasion angle, McMahon opted to bring the New World Order into the WWE. Around this time, McMahon was feuding with Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair had obtained half ownership in the WWE in a storyline that had McMahon seeing red. If he couldn't own the entire WWE, he'd destroy it by injecting it with terminal cancer, said cancer being Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Ironically, all three men were known for their power plays backstage. However, this video is about ridiculous beatdowns, not wrestlers' ridiculous backstage antics. But how's that sound for a future video? Here, the NWO put a hurtin' on The Rock, laying him out with a full-fledged New World Order beatdown, complete with Hogan whipping The Rock with his weight belt, followed by Hall and Nash executing their finishers. And speaking of execution, the NWO upped the ante. Hollywood Hogan decided it was hammer time for The Rock, so he produced a hammer from a toolbox underneath the ring, clocking The Rock in the back of the head with it. Things looked bad for The Rock as EMTs showed up and he was stuffed into the back of an ambulance. Incredibly, the New World Order wasn't finished as they stopped the ambulance. Hogan began smashing at the ambulance as Hall and Nash terrorized the hapless medical personnel. The EMTs wisely bailed, perhaps looking for a safer job such as bomb disposal. Meanwhile, Hall and Nash chained the ambulance shut, preventing anyone from getting in or out. But why? The Rock was already helpless, trapped on a gurney, and likely unconscious. Hollywood showed that he's a man of many talents when he drove up in a tractor-trailer. He plowed into the side of the ambulance as announcer Jim Ross gave an Academy Award-winning performance for outrage and disgust. Were wrestling fans about to witness vehicular manslaughter? It looked that way as Hogan plowed into the ambulance once again, and it folded up. Color commentator Jerry the King Lawler added to the fun, claiming the ambulance was broken in half. The angle provided the high-stakes impact, no pun intended, that the WWE needed to show just how dangerous the New World Order was. Unfortunately, the WWE ruined everything when it had The Rock show up less than a month later with no visible injury other than a bandage. The Rock looked more like he'd been hurt playing flag football than playing a human crash test dummy. The last time the WWE staged Car Wars, it wrote Stone Cold Steve Austin off TV for a year, after Rikishi ran him down with a car. Here, The Rock could have been written off to pursue his dreams in Hollywood for the next 20 years, and fans might have believed the injury was that bad. Instead, fans had to wonder if the WWE's remote medical facility was staffed by a team of medical droids with cloned organs and industrial-strength Bactine. Did we miss any of your favorite redonkulous beatdowns? Don't worry, because there are plenty more where these came from. Share your thoughts in the comments section and let us know if there are any videos you'd like wrestling's greatest moments to cover. In the meantime, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and spread the good news about wrestling's greatest moments, the channel that celebrates the squared circle.